On the evening of November 25th, Baha'is from New York and neighboring communities filled the Bahá'í Center in Manhattan for a unique Day of the Covenant. It was to be one of the final events in the centenary year of Abdu'l-Baha's stay in New York City. The evening began with an abundance of Persian food. The program was lively, uplifting, and filled with words and stories of Abdu'l-Baha. Tatiana Jordan welcomed the audience on behalf of the New York Baha'i community. Mohabat Sabhani chanted the Persian version of the prayer for New York revealed by Abdu'l-Baha 100 years ago.
از آن شهر به آفاق رسد و از هر جهت ممتاز گردد ای ملک الملوک نیویورک را مبروک فرما یاران را به یکدیگر مهربان کن نفوس را مقدس فرما قلوب را.
Prayers were offered in various languages, including Arabic, Spanish, Ethiopian, Bulgarian, and English.
Know this of a certainty that today the penetrative power in the arteries of the world of humanity is the power of the covenant. The body of the world will not be moved through any power except through the power of the covenant. There is no other power like unto this. This spirit of the covenant is the real center of love and is reflecting its rays to all parts of the globe, which are resuscitating and regenerating man and illuminating the path to the divine kingdom.
The evening was rich with musical performances and devotional interludes. Mike Longo, pianist and musical director for Dizzy Gillespie, played two soothing jazz pieces. The evening's main speaker was Dr. Hussein Ahdieh, author of the newly released book, Abdu'l-Baha in New York. His talk included humorous stories about being a Baha'i in New York and about Abdu'l-Baha.
So, when Mike Longo was playing, some old memory came back. Many of you probably remember or have heard about the hand of cause, Mr. Olinga. A great man from Africa who came to New York. And I remember I picked him up in Kennedy Airport, and then as we were driving to Manhattan, he said, is John Gillespie in town? You know, his name was John Gillespie, but everyone called him Dizzy. I said, yes, I think he's playing somewhere in Manhattan. And he said, I would love to meet him. So I called Mike, and I called his wife, find out where he is playing. We found out he's playing in one of the clubs in Harlem. I don't know the name of the club. What was that club, Mike?
Club Bear.
Club Bear, yes, right. It was a huge, big club. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we drove a few of the Baha'is. I remember my boss, Ed Carpenter, and a number of others. We drove to the club. And of course, I knew John Dizzy Gillespie because he was a big help to school that the Baha'is opened, Harlem Prep. And so as we entered the hall, I waved my hand to let him know we are here. And Mike was playing for him also that night. All of a sudden, he stopped the band, and his thick voice said, "Brothers and sisters, the lion heart of Africa." This is talking. Lingo is here, my brother, So all these half-drunk guests would get up with their glass of wine or vodka and hi brother, and welcome him to the club. So we sat down. You won't believe this. Within 5 minutes, there were at least 15, 20 bottles of scotch and vodka on the table. This is a gesture when you go to a club in New York and you have a distinguished guest. The other people send a bottle of whiskey. And I was so embarrassed. Andu'l-Bahá is sitting here. All this scotch and vodka is there. Somebody will take a picture. It would be, with my luck, it would be in Amsterdam News, you know. And I was sure they were going to blame me. Well, I have no question about that. So I called the waiter. I said, please take these bottles quickly out of tables and bring some ginger ale and Diet Coke. So thank you, Mike, for bringing some old memory back. She mentioned that I'm going to talk about Day of Covenant. I think there's going to be lots of reading on the subject of covenant. Not lots, good number. Also, Hillary and I, we have written a book about the covenant and Abdu'l-Baha in New York, so you can spend $10 and read all about it. So what I'm going to do, instead, I'm going to share some stories with you. You know, this whole year, I have given many talks about Abdu'l-Baha, and other people have, and they presented Abdu'l-Baha as most loving, most charming, most grounder father and a spiritual leader. But nobody really mentioned what the great sense of humor Abdu'l-Baha had. So I'm going to tell you a couple of stories that I was told about him, even though today actually my wife, you know, she come to New York once in a while, and of course she give me all kind of advice. She mentioned I should not tell too many jokes, and she even told me what I should say. Can you imagine? I have written a book, and she said, okay, this is what you're going to say. So I'm going to repeat a few lines that she gave me. So then after that, I tell you the story. First she said, say a few words about this Abdu'l-Baha, a man who never went to school, spent 4 years in prison, at the old age traveled all over the ocean, come to America, and within the short time, how he won the heart of almost everyone that he came across. And the stories of the people who fall in love with him and wrote about it is all over the place. The obnoxious New York Times reporter, Kate, who within the short time fell in love with him and went with him to Bowery Mission.
And Dr. Ahdieh expounded on the significance of the Day of the Covenant.
As I'm sure all of you know, May 23rd was the day that Bob, 1844, was the day that the Bob declared his mission. It happened, it was the same day that Abdu'l-Baha was born. And many believers in Persia, and later on in America, they were quite anxious to do something for Abdu'l-Baha, celebrating his birthday. But he refused to accept their offer, and in return he told them that that day belonged to beloved Bob, and it should be celebrated as his day that he declared himself. And since they insisted that they would like to have an occasion to celebrate his birthday, he said instead of that, he appointed today, November 26th, as a Day of Covenant. And what he did when he was in New York, in that particular day, in the house of Mr. and Mrs. Kenny, in the presence of Dr. Baghdadi, Dr. Farid, Mr. Mills, and a few other distinguished translators, they began to work on the Tablet of Branch, which is one of the mightiest tablets of Baha'u'llah. And beside the Kitab Ahdi, this was the book that they officially appointed Abdu'l-Baha as his successor and as the central covenant. So that's the reason that we are celebrating May 26th as the Day of Covenant, and as was mentioned earlier, November as a There is always somebody to correct me. And thanks God it's Christina. My heart goes to Bunny and her husband. So what was I saying? November 26th is the day that we celebrate the Day of Covenant. And as you all know, that the city is the city of Covenant. And we are very proud to be here. And thank you all.
Dramatic readings of the words of Baha'u'llah and Abdu'l-Baha imbued the evening with divine power.
Baha'u'llah declared, "So powerful is the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole earth." He further stated, "We verily have come to unite and weld together all that dwell on earth." Baha'u'llah made the oneness of humankind the central principle and goal of his faith, an emphasis that implies the organic and spiritual unity of the whole body of nations and signalizes the coming of age of the entire human race.
One New York story was Abdu'l-Baha's appointment of Louis Getzinger as Herald of the Covenant.
Sleepy. He sat down and closed his eyes. Juliet studied him, but found that she could not begin painting because Abdu'l-Baha's countenance reflected the dignity and peace of the divine realm. Then, as though awakened by the Holy Spirit, Abdu'l-Baha opened his eyes and with great power said, "I appoint you, Lua, the herald of the covenant. And I am the covenant appointed by Baha'u'llah, and no one can refute his word. This is the testament of Baha'u'llah. You will find it in the holy book of Actas. Go forth and proclaim, this is the covenant of God in your midst."
And we heard Abdu'l-Baha's ultimate statement of humility and dedication.
My name is Abdu'l-Baha. My qualification is Abdu'l-Baha. My reality is Abdu'l-Baha. My praise is Abdu'l-Baha. Thraldom to the blessed perfection is my glorious and refulgent diadem, and servitude to all the human race my perpetual religion. No name, no title, no mention, no commendation have I, nor will ever have, except Abdu'l-Baha.
We could feel the presence of the beloved Master when he blessed this city with his footsteps 100 years ago and designated it the City of the Covenant. On December 5, 1912, Abdu'l-Baha boarded the Cedric to return to the Holy Land. On that same day, 100 years later, a group of Baha'is met at the New York waterfront to remember Abdu'l-Baha's departure from America, bringing to a close an exhausting and exhilarating centennial year.
Bless thou, O King of Kings, the city of New York. Cause the friends there to be kind to one another. Purify their souls and make their hearts to be free and detached. Illumine the world of their consciousness their spirits and bestow celestial power and confirmation upon them. Establish there a heavenly realm so that the city of Baha may prosper and New York be favored with blessings from the Empire Kingdom, that this region may become like the all highest paradise, may develop into a